hypothetically, let's say the Lakers had a nice offseason. And let me tell you what I mean by offseason, nice offseason. I'm not telling you they went out and made a blockbuster move, because I don't think a blockbuster move is probably in the cards. But let's say they went out there and they traded some expiring contracts. They traded Dalton Connect. They traded their first rounder. And let's say they got a reasonable center that can hold it down for the Lakers and can give you 25 to 30 minutes a game. They got some size. And then they also use their 5.7 to get, I'm going to just throw it in, and they got Clint Capella. So now it's like, okay, hey, they're good on a big situation. I'm not telling you it's perfect, but nobody's going to walk into games anymore and say Lakers are going to get dominated on the glass. They have absolutely no interior defense. And, teams are just going to absolutely own them. Who was it that said on Minnesota? I'm blanking on the name here real quick. Who was it that said? Basically, it was like, hey, I'm the biggest guy on the floor. I'm just getting to the basket. And he's like, that's never happened in my career before. I forget who it was. I don't think it was Anthony Edwards. Anyways, long story short, let's say the Lakers were able to kind of handle their needs from a big perspective. Austin Reeves is still on the team. Rui is still on the team. You still got Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka. You still got LeBron. But by far the biggest thing you were struggling with was you do not have any size and you can't compete in the NBA playoffs. Let's just say that portion of the Lakers roster was addressed. How far are the Lakers from the Oklahoma City Thunder? I want you to take a second here, because I don't want to downplay the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder just won an NBA championship. They won 68 games, so there's really nothing to downplay. They're champs. And whether they win another championship again or not, which I think most people would think that, yeah, they're very well positioned over the next 5 years, 7 years. They're going to be in the mix for years to come. I was looking at something this morning, and it said, I forgot which site it was, maybe Draft Express or something like that. It was on X. And it was Thunder looking to get in the top 10 of the draft. I'm like, of course they are. They got 4 first rounders this year. I thought the Thunder were beatable. And I thought Oklahoma City had some areas where it's like, yeah, they're really, really good. But they're not this juggernaut where you just look at them and say, nobody's got a shot at them. Denver took them 7. Indiana took them 7. And frankly, if Tyrese Halliburton was healthy, I think it's a flip of a coin. I don't know who wins Game 7. But the Oklahoma City Thunder won an NBA championship. The question that I want to ask everybody here, if Lakers are able to address their center needs and their size needs and that interior defense and that rebounding, 1 or 2 guys kind of addresses that, still get to keep kind of the core of that team, how far are the Lakers from the Oklahoma City Thunder? Do you think it's this seismic difference between the two organizations? Or do you think, hey, if that's the team that we're chasing, okay, they're in the ballpark. There is a shot for them to compete if they're able to address some of their needs this summer. Everyone's chasing the Thunder. And I'll tell you something that Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is what the Thunder are not going to do. They're just too good of a front office to sit back and say, hey, we got ours. We got our chip. We're good. No, they'll take their 68 wins. They'll take the roster that they have. They'll take the creativity that they've been so creative. They'll still draft very well. They'll still develop their players. They'll still put themselves in a position that by the time next season comes, they will, of course, be the favorites to go win an NBA championship again. My question is, the team that most people who are on this chat or most people that are on this channel typically root for, which is the Lakers, how far are they from the Oklahoma City Thunder? I can go back to the regular season and I could say, hey, but you remember those 2 regular season games that the Lakers had? They won one of them. They were positioned in the second game for that game to go down. They played them in back-to-back games. I think they played like on a Sunday and a Tuesday. It was something like that. Blew them out on the Sunday. And then on Tuesday, we're right there. It's a 1-point game. I think the Lakers even had a 1-point lead. Luka gets thrown out of the game, and OKC just takes over from there. Does it sound crazy for me to say this? I don't think they're that far from the Thunder. Now, I think in a 7-game set, yes, OKC wins. I think, would OKC be the favorite? Of course they'd be the favorite. No question about it. Do Lakers need a lot of things to go their way? Yes, the Lakers need a lot of things to go their way. Do the Lakers need as good of an offseason from a very strategic perspective that every move they make is incredibly calculated? Yes. But does it feel like the Thunder and the Lakers are light years away? And by the way, a lot of people may disagree with me this. A lot of people might say, yes, Al, it does feel like they are absolutely 100% light years away. And I want you guys to tell me, and I want you guys to, obviously give me your opinion and your thoughts and everything else. But from my perspective, I think there are a lot of teams that look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, including the Lakers, and say, listen, we're not that far away. I mean, this isn't when the Golden State Warriors were doing what they were doing, most teams out there were like, yeah, we're not even going to try to compete right now. Let's just wait a couple of years and let's be sellers in the market and try to take advantage of that and then figure it out here in a couple of years. And hopefully Kevin Durant goes somewhere else. And then Kevin Durant went somewhere else. And then all of a sudden the league was wide open again. To me, it doesn't feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of those teams where it's like, hey, I don't think they got a shot by any stretch of the imagination. Now, Lakers are certainly going to have their challenges. Wolves were just a bad matchup. Not only a bad matchup, you really, truly didn't have, I like going back to this. I got to get him back on the show. But I remember about a month, 2 months before the playoffs even started, there weren't too many conversations out there of people saying, hey, Lakers just don't have enough size, because we were watching the Lakers win all these regular season games. Amin El-Hassan was our guest that we had on. Amin's like, pump the brakes, brother. You don't have size, you don't have rebounding, and you have an inexperienced coach. When you get to the playoffs, that's going to be a problem. And literally 2 months later, it was a problem. I was texting Amin. I'm like, Amin, you predicted this a couple months ago. He's like, yeah, what are you going to do? Okay, so I don't know how much it was the Minnesota matchup. I think it had more to do with what I just said. You're right. It was Jaden McDaniels, the ones that was saying like, hey, I'll just go to the basket and I'm the biggest one on the floor. Let's see what we got here. A lot of people want to talk Bam Adebayo. We're going to do that in just a second. They're also not going to let Presti leave, even though somehow people thought they'd be an option for the Lakers, even though Pelinka has done very well and just got extended. Yeah, that has more to do with the new ownership. I think things are going to stay the same for a couple of years, but I think we're eventually going to get to a point predicated on what this team looks like and predicated how far this team has got. I could tell you with a lot of confidence, if the Lakers in the next 2 years have 2 first-round exits, if you think new ownership's going to be like, well, you know what? We're just a big fan of Pelinka, and we know his relationship with the Buss family and this and that. I don't think that's how it's going to be. I think this ownership kind of will put everyone on notice, the new ownership, that business will always come before personal. I mean, listen, go look at the way they run the Dodgers. It's, and I'm not telling you that you don't have personal relationships and all that stuff, but the way they run the Dodgers, it's kind of like, yeah, we got a sheet of paper here, and either you're delivering or you're not delivering. And if you're not delivering, we're probably going to move on somewhere else. That's just kind of the reality of it. And that's, and frankly, that's how businesses run. I think the best businesses have a little bit of balance of both. I don't know if I really see that in the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers, it seems like to me, it's all business, which I think the Lakers can use a little bit of. If there's a criticism of how the Buss family has run things, my criticism would be you've allowed too many personal relationships to be mixed into the business, and anyway, so to go back to that comment, I do think there is a little bit of, based on the results, we'll see what happens in the future. OKC is a good team, not an all-time great, even with the 68 wins, defense carried them. They were phenomenal on defense. And by the way, I think they're going to be more dangerous next year than they were this year because they got a chip. You know how much easier it is to win after you've already won? And now you don't have to worry about that. Now you could just go play ball. And worst case scenario, if you lose, everybody's still like, yeah, but I mean, they just won a championship last year. So I do think there's some advantages from that perspective. Okay. Denver was the same, 1 year wonders. Kind of wild. I mean, kind of interesting that the NBA. I don't know what the real solution is going to be for the NBA, to be honest with you. I don't know if for the NBA, I don't know if they want these 7 champions in 7 different years. Part of me thinks, hey, it's okay to see that. The other part of me is like, so nothing could really marinate, but we'll see. Everybody always eventually comes up with a solution, and we'll see what that solution is. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.